Hey guys, Steve Welch here with your fact of the day. Independence Day in the United States. What's the date? Well, everybody knows it's the 4th of July. What if I told you that there were actually people that don't think it's the 4th of July? They actually claim it's the 2nd of July. And then there's some more still yet that actually say it's more like the 2nd of August, 1776. Well, what's the answer? And why are there different people that think different ways? I'm going to go over that right now. We'll make you just a little bit smarter than what you were yesterday. So there's an article that I found that's really actually pretty good here. So it's from the Constitution Center. So it's the constitutioncenter.org, and it is a blog that was wrote by Scott Bomboy. And this was wrote on the 2nd of July of 2022. So everybody always talks about the 4th of July being Independence Day, and he says if John Adams were alive today, he would tell you that Independence Day is the 2nd of July. So, but the other founders, of course, would say it's the 4th. Well, and then obviously the 4th is the current recognized day, but what is Independence Day? So the evidence. So here's what you go with, and here's how you make your decision as what you think should be the true Independence Day. So the Continental Congress declared its freedom from Great Britain actually on the 2nd of July, not on the 4th. It voted to approve a resolution submitted by Delegate Richard Henry Lee of Virginia, declaring these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states. They are absolved from all allegiances to the British Crown, and all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. John Adams thought that the 2nd would be marked as a national holiday for generations to come. He said July 2nd will be the most memorable epoch in the history of America. I am apt to believe that it will be celebrated by succeeding generations as the great anniversary festival. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shrews, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, illuminations from one end of this continent to the other from this time forward and evermore. That's from John Adams, obviously one of the founding fathers. So, that's interesting, right? So obviously he's voted for the 2nd. We're going to kind of go a little bit more. After voting on independence on July 2nd, the Continental Congress then needed to draft a document explaining the move to the public. It had been proposed in a draft from the Committee of Five, which was John Adams, Roger Sherman, Robert Livingston, Ben Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson. It took 2 days for the Congress to agree to the edits. Right? So once the Congress approved the actual Declaration of Independence document on July 4th, it is ordered that it be sent to a printer named John Dunlap. About 200 copies of the Dunlap broadside, a version of the document, were printed with John Hancock's name printed at the bottom. Today, 26 copies are known to remain of that first printing, right? So that's why the Declaration has the words "in Congress, July 4th, 1776" at its top, because that's the day the approved version was signed in Pennsylvania. So on July 8th of 1776, Colonel John Nixon of Philadelphia read a printed Declaration of Independence to the public for the first time on what is now called Independence Square. Most of the members of the Continental Congress signed a version of the Declaration of Independence on August 2, 1776. So it took them that long to get most of them to sign. The names of the signers were released publicly in early 1777. The late historian Pauline Maier said in her 1997 book, American Scripture Making the Declaration of Independence, that no member of Congress recalled in early July of 1777 that it had been almost a year since they declared their freedom from the British. They finally remembered the event on July 3rd, 1777, and July 4th become the day that seemed to make sense for celebrating independence. Maier also said that the arguments over how to celebrate the Declaration arose between the Federalists of John Adams and the Republicans of Thomas Jefferson, and that the Declaration and its anniversary day weren't widely celebrated until the Federalists faded away from the political scene after 1812. In an 1826 letter, the last he ever wrote, Thomas Jefferson spoke of the importance of Independence Day. For ourselves, let the annual return of this day forever refresh our recollections of these rights and an undiminished devotion to them, he said. Jefferson and Adams both passed away 2 days later on 4th of July, just about 6 hours apart. John Adams' last words were, "Thomas Jefferson survives," but oddly enough, Thomas Jefferson was the first to go. So just a little bit of history. So what do you think? July 2, July 4? At this point, does it matter? You know, we're going to celebrate one of them, right? Like I said, some people say the August date just because that's when everybody finally ratified it. But I think there was one delegation that was left out of it, but the vast majority. So realistically, fact of the day, July 2nd was the actual day of the Declaration of Independence from Britain for the United States. July 4th was the day that everything kind of came together and the edits were accepted. And then back to the August date of August 2nd, which was when all of the Congress pretty much signed it. So there you go. So Steve Welch, fact of the day. You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.